Such a bummer. Such a bummer. So let's see. Remove brand to upgrade now. No, we're gonna let you do that to us. Ooh, I don't think I can play music right now, though. There doesn't at the moment seem to be a lot of strain on the computer. Computer. There we go. And then so let's do this. So this is, I have to, curse of bad Wi-Fi. I don't think it's necessarily bad Wi-Fi. My computer crashed, so I think I'm overworking my CPU. Generally, it can carry along. I can generally go for 3.5 hours until the computer crashes. A lot of my streams just end because of the crash. So this summer, oh, that's another thing. Yeah, I mean, so I halved the size of this Photoshop file, and then I turned off. I actually have an ultra wide monitor on this setup, and I think that might strain it. So I've just taken a number of things to try and make it work. Unfortunately, because of that, I can't actually look at what's going on, but that's okay. You know, we'll just look in hindsight. We'll look at the data later. Let's see, and this works for me. This looks like me. Okay, so I'm gonna come up with a combination where if you are on Windows, do Control-Shift-Escape and see if there's anything running. No, I'm running a Mac right now. But I will be switching to Windows relatively soon, in the next few months, because it just doesn't really make sense to keep buying into Apple hardware. I don't know if Apple really has that edge. That's your issue then. Mac sucks. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're probably onto something there. Okay. So let's bring this over, and then we'll just kind of keep that bit rate little thing so I can see that. Okay. And so I'm working with a little bit less, but that's okay. As long as I can see the chat, see my viewers. Hey, Gamer Luop, is that what that is? Thank you for the follow. I actually got the notification that you're following me on Twitch, and I appreciate that. Now, once again, let's put out yeah, it looks like we're doing good with the CPU. The bit rate, taking down the bit rate, I think has really helped. So I'm assuming, I mean, most of the software I use doesn't even run on Mac software anymore. Oh, wow. Anymore. What kind of software are you running? What causes that? Looks like we don't have any, am I on the live though? Is this what the live feed looks like? Let's take a look. Is it just me, or does it sound like there's an echo?
Thing for people to latch onto.
Okay, so we're just gonna have to deal with that for now, because this isn't really about making the perfect stream. It's more about, getting these drawings done. I just don't know if Apple's really done what it used to do. I mean, I do love the iPhone and I do love the MacBook Pro. The MacBook Pro might be their best product. Houdini, for example, doesn't work with the best on Macs. I could see that. That's amazing you work in Houdini. That's a big deal, baby. Yeah, you're into the big boy stuff. Houdini, you're not intimidated by all those, what are those things called you guys have to use to run Houdini? It's like a bunch of kind of like filters, or I don't know what those are called. Okay, writing 500 lines of code to make a cube. Yeah, I know, right? So let's do this, and then let's add a photo to it again, and then let's do a link. Nodes, thank you. Yes, the nodes. The nodes are intimidating. I need to understand what's going on. That's why I do everything by hand. No matter where technology takes us, I am always going to be doing things by hand. Dang it. Let's add another one because I feel like people don't hit the nodes. Houdini users love overcomplicating things. Yeah, I believe it. They probably feel comfortable in that, how complicated it is. I've done a little in Houdini, couple projects, nothing production worthy. Oh, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm not sure that might be true. Link here might be a good one. There we go. People should get the point there. There we go. Ooh, I hope Gray Fox comes back. Gray Fox is one of my favorites. More stuff in Blender and graphic design. Oh, cool. Yeah, I do like Blender. I need to start learning Blender again. Actually, I learned Maya, and then I'll move around in Blender. And I've been wanting to learn Blender for a while. It's been on my list of things to do. That sucks. I can't actually get any music on here. It looks like we're good hardware-wise, though. I wonder if we can turn this other monitor on. I kind of want to try it out. Yeah, you said something about Discord. How do I join that? Good question. I'd have to get you a link, but first, let's get things going. But yeah, at some point, I'll drop a link for you. But we got to know that this is going to work. And the only reason I'm saying that is that I would have to donut tutorial for Blender. Yeah, I know. I need to, well, you know, the crazy thing too with what's going on with technology, I almost feel like you might be able to sculpt something in real life faster and then scan it and then put that into Blender and then start, I'm sculpting in Blender right now. Oh, cool. Are you streaming it? You should stream it. I was going to start streaming the process of learning Blender. What happened? Oh, you know what? It's something wrong. Come on. Okay. I'm putting the other monitor in just because it helps with my workflow, and also I just want this other monitor. It helps me a lot. I'm going to take a short screen break. Yeah, good idea, buddy. Let me get ready with all this. We're going to start cruising. I might find some music. I could have swore I saw graphic novel creation stream. I was like, graphic novel creation streaming music. I could have swore I saw something like that recommended to me. Yeah, no. You really got to give a lot of credit to YouTube. They do really good with the search engine aspect of what it does. Behind the panel. Oh, that's funny. Oh man, I could have saw it. I should have saved it. View from the top with Ken Griffin, founder and CEO of a Citadel. Oh my God. I don't think I want to hear what that guy has to say. As long as it's music that's not going to get this stuff taken down. Looks like the hardware is handling everything well. We got this one going, and then let's pull up the YouTube. UB2B. It's too bad. We were really cruising too. Going up and down is very frustrating for people. Joe Kappa's been killing it. Kind of want to see what he just put out.
All right, are we recording? Here at Colby's, we understand, man. We just always have. We understand that, you want a fresh patty. You want to have crisp onions, juicy tomatoes. Cut about that thick, right? About that thick. But most importantly, we know the onions don't touch the tomatoes. Fuck yes. Because at Colby's, we understand, man. We understand you need to have a burger just the way you like it. Especially how the tomatoes don't touch the onions. Separate by a whole patty. You don't even have to worry about that. The only thing you gotta worry about is finishing it. Introducing the new Big Grayson. Now that's what I call a Big Grayson. Yeah, that's a big Grayson. Now, follow me down. All right, are we recording? Here it goes.
That's funny. That's pretty good. Yeah, let's find some music. Let's get in the mood. Boy, oh boy, when did I start? Like an hour ago? Let's see how it's going on here. Conformity Farm. Conformity Farm. Here we go. Here's a live. Okay, not bad. Looks like we're cruising. Live music, oldies. Okay, so then we have this. The audio's working. We're not stressing anything. Thank goodness to Christmas. What's going on with this video? Is this up? Oh no, it looks like we're not showing up on Twitch. What's up with that? Okay. There we go. So now we're up on Twitch. We're up on UBTubi. Okay, there we are. Very nice. All right, let's get back to it. So this was... Oh, and then we also have Discord here. Actually, it wouldn't probably be a bad idea to put that Discord link in there now. I think the computer can handle it. The computer. So I need to come up with a setup where I got a CPU that's just completely dedicated to streaming, because I don't want... Because honestly, I end up working on this book for hours and hours at a time, and it's like, why not join the public, you know? Why not draw this in front of everybody? Who cares at this point? It's an original story. And so that's kind of where I'm thinking. I'd like to make an upgrade to hardware so that I have a dedicated CPU just to the streaming itself. And yeah. Where are we at here? What do I want to look for? Music's okay. This is okay. I'm looking at the Discord. Let's open up this Discord so we can get our buddy a link. Are we up now? Okay, this one worked. What is this? This is wild. Okay, I wonder what happened earlier. I think I just overwhelmed my CPU, and so I just took some time and I really started to reduce the bit rate. So technically the video you're watching is reduced by, gosh, probably close to 20% in quality. And then I halved the size of the Photoshop file. And then I started working backwards once, like I removed my monitor, yada, 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 yada. All I did was, how do we do this? So yeah, it was a hardware issue. I have to kind of deal with this for another few months, but eventually I'm going to be I'm going to buy a computer just as a dedicated CPU for streaming. Because I spent a lot of time working on this stuff, and I might as well stream it. I mean, why not? I'm still sitting here. The only time I don't want to do it is when I want to listen to my copyrighted music that I enjoy so much. Okay, so now how do I invite someone to my Discord? Invite people, okay. Copy, okay, so then this should work. That should be a link to the Discord. Okay, so then let's collapse the Discord. because Discord is very heavy on the CPU. It's a good program, but man, is it robust. Okay, let's get to it now. What were we drawing before? Listening to this old music. This music isn't doing it for me. I'm not going to lie, I like to get everything set the way I want it. I'd love to get it set ahead of the stream. Since the stream crashed, I'm going to have to take a few minutes to try to get myself comfortable here. So, potatoes, fried potatoes. Oh, okay. Playlist to study like a medieval philosopher. Ooh, what's that sound like? Were medieval philosophers really have it? They had a chorus next to them? I doubt it. That stuff was all for rehearsal or programming music. The programmer / hacker music is always really good because it's adjusted for these computer speakers. And then what else do we need? This. Okay. Back to it. Nothing to it but to do it. Okay. We finally get it out. Nice. Okay. Oh, looks like Luop is here. Welcome to the Discord, buddy. I run the Discord through I run it through my laptop. So I actually don't run it on the same computer. So I'm always trying to isolate these tasks. All right, let's make sure we got everything. Hold on. Okay. And we got that. Okay. Let's get with it, huh? I swear, people get notifications of me streaming and then they decide to start texting. They just must have forgot that I existed until the stream came up. Okay. Man, my hands are starting to get to me a little bit. Wouch. Okay. We had this. Oh, let's get the other one. Let's get this other keyboard up there. Still getting comfortable with it. Man, how long can I stream for? For quite a while. I actually don't think I'm going to be able to go out tonight. Man, I would love to go out, but I just don't think it's one of those weekends. It's kind of a bummer. And my birthday's coming up too, so you'd think I'd find a way. I generally let my cat hang out in here too, but she's been just so feisty. Not even feisty, that's the wrong word. She's just so... She's very dependent on me at the moment. Very frustrating. Okay. So let's turn this bad boy on. There we go. Connect that. Let's turn this one off. Very good. Okay. All right, now we're back in business, huh? Okay. All right, so how are we going to approach this? So the thing that's kind of, excuse me, on the decision-making chopping block, if you will, what do we got on here? Some dry erase markers. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let's see if people come in over time. And then let's charge this because I don't want to lose what happened here. I wonder who unfollowed me. They're probably getting notifications like, I don't want these notifications anymore. Actually, let's take a look. Let's take a look at who's following me on Twitch. Take a gander while I'm here. I should probably bring the light down a little bit on this. Let's see. Gamer Luop. How do you want to say that? Gamer AP. Oh, is that the channel? Creator dashboard? Path to affiliate. Get 50 followers. Stream 7 days a month. Okay. Stream 8 hours a month. I can do that. Oh, average 3 viewers per stream. See, that's first one pretty much, right? First one what? Content community. Okay. Role manager activity followers list. Okay. Dr. Balls. Ah, we still got Fujo Bear. Crispy Nuggets. Oh, first one pretty much, right? Oh, okay. Yeah. Gamer Luop. But yeah, how do you say that? Your streamer audio is a little distinct from the video. Oh, I wonder what that's about. Interesting. I wonder what that's about. What software do you use to stream? I use OBS. So the video bit rate and the audio bit rate, I didn't change the audio bit rate. So maybe I chose a bit rate that's making it go out of sync. I'm not really sure. McGruff, Gernomus, Bunker, Benji. Oh, wow. Unemployables is on there, yeah. Yeah, she still follows. I might need to reach out to my old followers and say, hey, I'm streaming again. Come check me out. That might be a good move one day. Okay. Check, 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 check. Yeah, let's see how it goes on my end. I'm mostly trying to, you know what might happen is I might need to reestablish my connection with Twitch with the new settings. That's a possibility. But let's see what we get when we go to Twitch on our own, huh? Let's see what my experience is like. Check, 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 1, 2.
Check, 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 1, 2.
It's a little bit off, but it's not that crazy. It's not the end of the world. But I would like them to get real clean. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a high standard, but we still got to get through today. And where we been at? Ooh. Man, I wouldn't mind making a steak for dinner. I think I really got to get a workout in. I got 2 things. OBS setting, audio, advanced settings, set a sync offset. All right, yeah, let's do that. OBS settings, and then you say audio, and then advanced set async. Advanced. Monitoring device. No, I got to do this one. Meter, peak meter, audio, advanced, set a sync offset. Set a sync offset. I don't see that. I see advanced and it's monitoring. Oh, I see. Advanced. These are hotkeys. Meter monitoring. Yeah, I'm not seeing that last. It's not that it might be edit advanced. So if it's not that, it might be edit advanced audio properties. Sync offset column should be there. Advanced audio. So you say it might be edit. Where's edit? I don't know where edit is. Oh, so I got advanced settings here. Video, sources, hotkeys. Audio reconnection. No, automatically reconnect. Delay, recording. Audio, maybe output. Recording, audio mode, simple. No. If it's not, okay, so then that's still the same thing you said. Stream, general, output. Advanced set is sync offset. Automatically restart, replay, buffer when streaming. I don't know what that means. Preview, importer, multi-view. Check, check, check. Okay, these are good. Maybe I could go to the, you know what it might be? It might be, oh, you know what it might be? I know what it is. Cancel this. So let's get rid of this. Does that help? Is that better? Check, 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 check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Let me know if that works. You're live. I know I'm live. Go to my channel. All right, so when we look at this project here, we have, oh, shoot, you're putting it in here, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so let's try this. advanced audio properties, and then you say it's at what? Audio sources. Yeah, but what do you want me to do when I get in there? When I get in here, active. This is balanced. Okay, sync offset. Oh, okay. Mic 2, we're at mic 2 and mic 1. Oh, wow, you can actually do this. I didn't know you could do this. So the question is, how many MSs, sync offsets, should you do? So I think that once you know how far you're off, then you can make the adjustment, I suppose. There we go. That might work. Try steps by 100, then go from there. Oh, okay. All right, let's try. You still say it's negative values work too. So let's try 100 then. So I'm doing it for two different mic inputs, which their volumes are, should both be at 40. So I'm going to do 100. Negative values work too. Okay, check, check, check. Check 1, 2. Let's check this out here. That looks good for me. Yeah, I'm cool with that. I hope it's not throwing you off too much. Oh, let's plug this. Plug this in. So we're at noon, and I wanted to get on here early, so we're not really going the route I want. So let's keep going. Okay. So really what we want to do is I want to deal with this portion of the story right here. I'm almost tempted. How long has this stream been? A half hour? That's whatever. I was going to launch a new stream, but I'm not going to do that now. And then we got this going. Okay, so let's get back to work. So really what we want to do here is we want to do this portion of the story. So we got this guy, he got infected, right? Then we have some cats who come across, and they're basically like, what are you doing, Jib Jub? And they try to take the cat away from him. He's having this like crazy moment, and I have not extended this portion of the story. So why don't we isolate this and come up with some stuff on our own, okay? So we're going to go ahead and isolate these, and we know that there's a couple of, essentially I would say doctors or Space Cat colleagues walking down the hall, and we're going to go ahead and try to improvise some of this stuff. Again, Gamer Luap, however you say that, Lap, you've been doing a good job of keeping me, giving me feedback on how things are going, so I'm always happy to hear that. Also, you're welcome to come into the voice chat, and then, but if you enter the voice chat, you'll be on the stream, so just keep that in mind. Okay, so these guys witness our buddy. Now they have to kind of come from somewhere, and that's what we're going to dream up today. So we're actually going to get some real work in today. So what does that look like? What kind of space cats? Now, having said that, one of the major pieces of feedback I get from some of my colleagues is that females are not very well represented inside of my stories, and that's a problem. And so at first I thought, well, I'm just drawing these cats. I mean, they're not specifically sexually one way or another way, or, you know, gender, or however we say that nowadays. But it's more or less that we do know that there's feminine energy, and I would say that masculine energy is dominating a lot of this, and that's just not realistic. So how do you even do a female anthropomorphic cat, I wonder? So we'll say lady. Let's see how the internet's doing. Anthropomorphic. Not to copy necessarily, but to get an idea of what exists out there already. So yeah, they just have more of a feminine figure, and then they have, they have breasts, and then they have wide hips. But they're not really doing a lot with the hair necessarily. Sometimes they do. So let's see what we can sketch out, huh? Let's try to get a lady in here. A female cat, if you will. A lady Kiki. Like my little Charlie girl, right, Charlie girl? If I say that, she's going to sit outside the door. Okay, yeah, let's see what we can get. So we could just kind of, let's drop the opacity on this down even more. No matter where technology is, that's a good question. So do I use AI? Kinda sometimes, but I just Googled images because I knew that other people had done. I know that there are furries, and I know that there's this culture that keeps growing where people really like anthropomorphic cats and different animals, and they'll cosplay it. And so all I'm doing is I just kind of want to get a general idea of what's already been acceptable, and that gives me an idea of what the market's looking at. But I don't think they really push them as far as I hope to. So we'll see what happens here. So let's get, I was thinking maybe a couple of doctors, maybe female cats that are doctors, but let's just draw a nice little lady cat. We'll give her a nice little nose like this, right? Maybe I like sometimes when the eyes don't have a depth of personality behind them. So we'll give her some eyelashes like this, maybe she has some of this stuff has like a feminine hat, but let's do something like this, kind of the bangs, if you will. Now everyone's going to be like, whoa, who's this character? And I guess the ears will come out from behind the hair like this. This will be probably pretty popular. I like doing this with the eyes. It's a way also for characters that aren't that important. You try not to put too much into them so that it's easier for the reader to understand what I'm trying to do. So this is kind of giving me a glare. So I'm actually going to pull back some of the light. I don't like that glare. It's this one and then this one and then this. So it's not doing a ton, but it is putting some light on me, but that's okay. What do you guys think of my profile shot? I used to have the camera right in front of me, but I decided to go with profile for a little bit. It makes more sense to me. Oh, anyway, back to this cat. So let's make her cute. So she's got her ears. Maybe we'll do some fluff this way. I'm not sure. Should we go? I don't like sexy too much, and I know that's like a thing. I really want this to be, not sexually charged really too much. So let's say it's like this. Okay, so then we got this character who comes across. 3/4 view is always nicer, in my opinion, instead of head-on. Yeah. For me, it's just more desirable for me because the head-on sometimes really gets me because I end up spending a lot of time looking down at the tablet, and I'm just like, when I work, I generally scowl. So that's a whole other thing. But just looking down and scowling and looking at these thumbnails sometimes of me working is just like, it's not very flattering. Not that I really put a lot into my presentation for these streams. Actually, generally, I don't even particularly groom for the streams. I just show up however I am, which I actually think, funny enough, the streamer community is more open to that than IRL life, which would require me to groom myself a little more. So let's see what we got here. Okay. All right. So maybe I put my phone on Do Not Disturb because people are starting to send me messages again. Let's just put, I gotta work. Just Do Not Disturb for now. Yeah. And then we'll keep this charging. Okay. So we're back to our girl here. And I like the idea that she's a doctor. But also I think that there's like something we can do with the posture a little bit. So let's see what we can do with her, huh? Maybe we just have this female character. So I like to have the heads a little bit bigger. It's pretty consistent. And now they might say, like, what in the world is going on here? Do you see what's going on with our buddy? See what we can do here. Kind of just rough it out, right? Get a pose going. So yeah, we'll give her a feminine kind of approach to things, like this.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Hello. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I was wondering if you were hearing me, because Discord
Yeah.
being weird.
Um,
All right.
So I just want to let you know you're on the stream. As long as that's okay, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, yeah. Does my audio sound better?
In the stream it's still delayed, but that's annoying to fix live on stream, honestly. I would just do it later.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll have to look into it.
Just sit down at some point and see make the video and audio match. So sometimes just restarting OBS fixes that, but
Yeah. What about copying my key into Twitch and is reestablishing that connection? Do you think that has any sort of connection to it?
No clue. I
neither
just use OBS for Discord and my Teams.
Okay. Are you an IT guy?
Am I what?
Are you an IT guy?
No.
Oh, okay.
My friends are though.
Mm.
I kind of catch some things.
Right. Yeah, you kind of seem like an IT guy. That's why I said.
Like genuinely fantastic programmers.
Ooh.
Things I don't even comprehend.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I got friends like that. But people are saying now that what is it? I just saw a thing. It was an interview with where I don't know exactly what the interview dynamic was, but Mark Zuckerberg's been kind of on a tear, calling out other monopolistic type of companies when he can, kind of pointing out how Apple hasn't really put out any great products since the iPhone, and they're still just rehashing that. And then they were in a one-on-one with the CEO of Microsoft, and he asks, this is a very recent one, he goes, what percentage of your internal code at Microsoft is written by AI? And the guy, the CEO, I can't remember his name, it took him like 2.5 minutes to basically say that 1/3 of all their software is written by AI. And I think it was partly because he didn't really want to answer the question. Huh?
That's pretty fucking awful, honestly. Wait, can I swear?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Try not to if you don't mind. But yeah, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Twitch is pretty open to profanity.
AI is not good enough yet.
Yeah. Well, I think...
Coding is hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's got to be something...
The way it's been explained to me is like, okay, either you code for 2 hours or you debug for 5. So...
Oh, really?
It's kind of like, two sides of the same coin, I guess.
Yeah. Let's get...
Either you do the work yourself or you spend more time fixing it. That's what it is right now.
Okay, so then...
But
they feel...
It also just mean that it's assisted by AI. That's probably what they mean.
But there's also... the probability is that whatever models Microsoft is working in are probably far better than what we have access to. I mean, that's got to be pretty obvious.
True.
And it's probably very specific to what they want. I mean, I think they had 10% stake, or they might still have more, 10% stake in OpenAI. So they've been there the whole time. And Yeah.
I was one of the first like beta testers
Who was?
because my friend was for
Oh,
OpenAI, specifically the image generation,
wow.
like Dolly 1.
That's
You
nuts.
couldn't even look at it, to be honest. It was scribbles.
When he
No filters, no nothing. It's just best I can describe it as a fever dream. It just everything looks like a fever dream.
That's terrifying.
But I they sadly took away my status when they
Wait,
got big.
you said
So no more free plus.
you worked
No more
for
free premium.
you worked for OpenAI? Is that what you're saying?
No. It was like you could just sign up.
Oh, okay.
Because we're a new company at the time. You could just say, I'm interested. Give me a key, and you took like 2 months to get one.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool. So you're on top
And
of
you
that stuff.
basically got like the free version of Premium for a while before they switched everything up.
Yeah, I mean, I've been using the AI that I can talk to, the advanced one, which is about $20 a month, and
I also have that, yeah.
huh?
I also use it, yeah.
Oh, do you? Yeah. So I used it so much a couple days ago, I had run out of time, and I was like, okay, well, how much more do I
That
have?
has not happened to me yet.
Yeah, I'm spending a lot of time with it, and it's doing great for me. It's helped me identify psychological biases based on, the way that I communicate with it. And psychological biases are one of the most difficult things for an individual to identify because of the nature of what a bias is as a whole. Like, how could the host understand its own bias? And so generally it's a very expensive thing to do because you need to generally have a not psychologist, whichever one is like the doctor level. And their time is very expensive. And so after working with the AI, and I don't know how long I've been working with it, I couldn't imagine not having it at this point. But after a while, I think after doing a lot of long sessions of work and doing research with it, I started having conversation like, what biases do you think that I may have? And it listed a number of biases, and then I kind of went into those more. And so I was almost having essentially like a therapy session with it. It was going very well while giving me disclaimers, not telling me, hey, listen, obviously you should go talk to a professional, but here's some things. And it's like everyone suffers from biases, and it's like the limitations to your existence really have to deal with your ability to identify and limit the biases that you have. Therefore, you can continuously grow. Biases can be so extreme that you essentially you end up being like a pet in a cage, but the cage is actually just a psychological limitation that you put around yourself. And so it's been really huge for that. So I've spent a lot of time with it trying to develop, and I'm very excited. It's almost like I've gone to the gym and gotten a sort of like a physical breakthrough, but not being a physical breakthrough. It's a psychological and mental breakthrough. And so I kept engaging it, and it goes, well, you've run out of time. And I was like, there's no way. I paid $20 a month. And it was like literally to keep going, they want $200 a month. And that's not within my budget. But I could definitely see if it was within my budget that I would just give it to them. And so it makes me wonder how valuable OpenAI is going to be in the next decade.
It depends on if they survive the AI bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's definitely a thing. Well, most of the bubble depends on them, so they're probably...
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of theirs to lose, isn't it? They are the ones that everyone's kind of looking to. Even though we got, Copilot and DeepSeek, and then I think another one just came out. But the thing is that humans are ubiquitous, or myopic rather, and they'll all in a drove show up at the same place, and that's how you end up with an Amazon or
monkey do, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
yeah,
because it's so nuts because the internet makes it so that there's unlimited options, but humans still have the behavior where they try to go to whatever the top thing is. I mean, everyone hates Facebook, but no one's jumping ship really. I mean, I don't really go on there, but I could maybe switch, but I don't think I'm the archetypal mainstream consumer. I think those are, baby boomers and things like that. Like, what are their behaviors like? And they're not leaving Facebook because they have this repository of all these people they're already connected to, and it would be too difficult to get everyone else on this next platform. So, Yeah, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I remember
I
the
am 19.
oh, so you're a baby still. Okay. But
Yeah.
when I was even when I was younger than you, I saw the .com bubble, which was literally you
Mm.
could if you literally just got a URL that you owned and then you hosted a website, you could theoretically launch an IPO and be worth millions of dollars before your company does anything. That was basically the .com bubble. Nowadays, it's so easy to do that and not that crazy that we can see how wild it is that the .com bubble was as big as it was, but it's all speculation. The question is, where's that going to go with AI? And I just think that it's got a long way to go. I don't even think regular people know that much about it. I think if you work in different sectors, you've already begun to get close to it. I'm getting a little distracted here, so let's try to move this character along.
I have friends that like work in AI directly,
Yeah.
so
So yeah, you're not like a regular.
I have some knowledge. It's not like chatbots. It's more like image recognition. So like you show an image of an apple and says, "Oh, it's an apple," stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, where's this all going, though? I mean, what's OpenAI is not a public company, is it? I don't think so. OpenAI.
People think it's scary than it is.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
not going to be like, oh, all of a sudden it goes rogue. Super unlikely, and it'll probably shit itself midway through, honestly.
say that last part again.
It will give up, basically. Well, stop working in the middle of going rogue, quote unquote.
Because computers don't have motivations.
It's more like it gets stuck in its own loop and doesn't know what to do because it's not been trained on that. It's not as sophisticated as people think.
But I will say, though, here's the thing, though. As someone, so, okay, I'll give you an example. So I've been working on this graphic novel for about 5 years, right? Since you were 14, right? And it's it's a really large project. I'm really excited to put it out into the world. It's going to be a significant, I imagine when this book is released, of the books that come out that year, if you're not paying attention, maybe you won't notice it. But for anyone who is paying attention, they should definitely observe what I've accomplished in a sense. Having said that, I've done most of this on my own, and I have some people helping me in some ways. But now that I have AI, it offers a level of commitment that I don't have the money to pay an individual for. Its productivity is fantastic. Its standards are very, very high. It always says yes. I mean, that is a profoundly valuable thing to put in my workflow. It's more valuable than me trying to sum up 40, 50 grand, which is not a ton of money, right? To bring someone in for a year to just do what I tell them to do. And it's accelerated my work. Therefore, that the productivity that's currently in the economy that's brought in by human labor, it has just been almost like completely demolished. And what human labor does is now going to have to get reorganized. And that's the big, I think, disruption to the current system at the moment. I think all these major layoffs are coming from companies I will say a lot of these companies I think are estimating the value of the current AI that they have access to. And also I think that they do know that they need to reorganize people. And so in the short term, they're going to consume the profits and then cut the payroll of all these people, and they're going to be unemployed and they're going to have to find new places to go. And then eventually, as these companies reorganize themselves, they'll find something for the organic worker, if you will, to do. So there's going to be a major restructuring that way. From your age, you probably are not thinking about things quite that way, but it sounds like you reflected on this in a very healthy, pragmatic way, which is going to be great for you moving forward as you make predictions, as the world changes. The world's never changed so quickly, and I assume that it's just going to accelerate. It's a pretty incredible time to be alive that way.
I just use it for a couple things in my workflow.
Which is what?
Yeah. And it's like a game changer in that. Like, I would not have come up with my most recent idea without it, most likely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And
The way I let it do stuff for that is like, okay, here's like 20 ideas I've written down over the last like week or so. Jumble them together and make something possibly interesting. And then one of them is usable. It's one more than my rough ideas. And then I sit down again and play with that idea more. And then I actually have something usable. And then I tell it to do market research and whatnot, because I hate doing it. And it's really good at that.
Yeah, that's, I
Market
asked.
research is annoying as hell.
Yeah. I mean, if that's not your thing, I asked the AI, because I've been working with it a lot. I said, based on all the things that you can do, what do you think after working with me, this whole time, where do you think are my major blind spots and the things that you can offer that I'm not tapping into? And and I've asked the question several different ways at different times. And it basically says data analytics and market research. And it was and I was like, okay, well then look at my social media. What do you think? And it's like, well, I can't extract data, but I can tell you what data you can put in this model or whatever they call it. I don't know. What are they, projects or conversations? I'm not really sure. So that right away said that I'm just not doing that. And it's almost like, having information and going into a battle without all the information that the people you're competing with do have. So I guess that's just a common way to do business now, is to have, being able to extract information from your customers and the people who are already interested in you, so that you can, kind of, I guess, I don't know, express itself back to them. I'm not really sure. This is taking a while. Let's actually, what is this? So
it's certainly very useful. There's like a 50-50. It's either, in artists at least, there's either I'm never using it because I don't like it, and then there's the ones that do too much. I have a teacher, and I'd say he does a bit much.
Oh, really?
With AI.
Yeah.
He's done some like fantastic things. He's done stuff for the Kamala Harris campaign last year.
Oh,
and it looks fantastic, but the stuff he shows us sometimes with AI just looks like shit.
Really?
Say it nicely. He's a bit blind at that way, I'd say.
That's interesting.
So
well, he's
that's
probably
something to look out for. Don't let AI worsen your creative process.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely only adding. And I didn't jump into AI right away. I'm a little bit older, so I have a lot of I'm more actualized than someone who hasn't been around as long as me. Sometimes, I don't want to make any judgment. Obviously, you can be a genius at 14, but I would say, like, I trust my instincts to know what the ethical and quality standard really is. And the one thing is for sure, people have a decent eye and they can tell what AI is. So in a sense, in theory, and I have some colleagues who came to this conclusion and I really respect it, which is that they kind of see AI as a new artist on the stage. And it's probably the best artist that exists at the moment. But people can tell that it's AI, and unless you bounce back and forth with the AI, it's going to be pretty obvious you're using AI. But there's a lot of people who do things, and this is actually something recently that I figured out through a class. I took a class with a background artist on Zoom, a background artist who's been working since the 60s and 70s, and he's incredible. He's a master. He's worked on some of the biggest projects, Disney, Warner Brothers, yada, yada. And he started showing me that some of these 3D artists who are doing the concept art for science fiction. Now, granted, I do everything with my hand, right? So my contribution to art is always whatever I can do with this hand. If I lose this hand, I'm out in a sense. But what they do is they'll just kit bash a bunch of models that they have in Blender, and some of them they made, some of them they didn't make, some of them they stole and borrowed, or they took them from Thingiverse or whatever, and then they start shining really dynamic lights around these models because it doesn't need to be defined because it's science fiction, right? Like there's no, like you don't need to understand all this stuff. And then you find out that a lot of this science fiction art is really just a bunch of models thrown together in a cool way, and then they're lighting the environment and taking a picture inside of Maya or Blender or whatever, and you're looking at it and you're going, wow, what an incredible artist, when you realize they're actually just using the tool in a clever way to get an outcome that people like. And then there's the other aspect from a creative perspective, which is that outcome and results is really all that matters, because you're vying for eyes of the consumers. And I'll give you another example. So when this AI started coming out, there was the whole thing of Will Smith eating spaghetti. You remember that?
You cut out, sorry, what?
There was the thing with AI with Will Smith eating spaghetti. Do you remember that? It's like a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was. Fuck, what company was that again? Whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
The horrific.
Yeah, he's trying to eat spaghetti, but
eating.
yeah, the AI doesn't understand that we got plumbing internally, right? At the time, it wasn't really.
Okay, one thing that's wrong is the word we use, understand, in AI. The best, well, not the best way, but the funniest way someone explained it to me is that specifically chatbots are just very fancy autocorrect. It just guesses what you're going to say next instead of correcting you, if you know what I mean.
Say that again.
It does the exact same thing. Okay. AI could be called just fancy autocorrect.
Okay.
All it does is guess the next possible word. So if you say hi, it's probably going to say my name or whatever, or whatever context else you give it. It's just really good at that. It's just really good at guessing. So image models or video models, all they do is just guess what the next possible pixel would be. It's really not that it's understanding anything. That's why all of these like quote unquote AI commercials you're seeing now are just stolen from other artists.
Yeah.
With basically an AI filter on top, because it cannot yet guess well enough to not garble up someone's logo or whatnot.
That's interesting.
So it's just guessing.
Yeah.
It's just really fucking good at guessing. I mean, like, really good.
Yeah, well, the other thing is that how often, before AI was on the stage, how often were people extremely derivative of other things and then just putting their name on it in media as a whole?
They still do. People steal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They
copy. They see something they really like, so they make it, you know, especially when you're dealing with filmmaking, which is actually something I have a lot of experience with, is working in filmmaking and working in TV. If I really, really love a movie, I could basically rip the movie off, because whatever I shoot with my camera, I will never be able to completely recreate anyway. So therefore it will just be me. And you're never really going to get called out from being too derivative of something else, because it's almost impossible. And so really, being upset at the AI for being derivative or borrowing or stealing from others is kind of like you're getting upset at this new kid on the block who showed up, who does the same thing a lot of other people do. Like, the question is, can AI truly be original? So
no, impossible.
No, that's what I'm saying. So humans have to still be involved. And so if you never really were an original thinker and you were a person who was dependent on being derivative, then it's going to be more competitive for you. But if you have the capacity for originality, which I'd like to think that I do, this is actually a more exciting time for someone like me, because my output's going to be up, which is actually the thing that's been holding me back and would probably cause me to disappear in obscurity as I pass away, of old age over time. So I'm very excited about these new tools. I incorporate them in what I do and try to be as ethical as possible. And I trust my instincts, because there is no standard yet. And that's something I think that comes with the age a little bit, is that I've been around and I've waited for things, and I just don't wait anymore. One very key.
The only thing that's bothering me about that is people just didn't get paid and got all of their art and work stolen. That's just what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I live in the EU, so we are
Oh.
very close. I think 2 months of getting basically lost. Let's say, oh, it's been proven that you've stolen this person's work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to inform them and they can sue you. Something like that.
Oh, wow.
Basically, it's now actually theft.
Yeah.
It's
and it should
exactly like stealing from a shutter, like a stock image company.
Sure.
Stuff like that. You know, it's seen as the exact same, which is
So-
good because artists are the least protected people in the working class.
Yeah, well, in the United
Always.
States, the copyright laws are pretty generous towards artists. You don't have to actually submit anything at all to get your copyright work protected. The moment you create an original piece of work, it's actually protected by copyright law. So then if you get into a place of being litigious, then you just need to be able to prove it. But if you can prove it, and for me, my stuff goes online, I stream it, you can see me create it, so I'm in a pretty good spot that way. To take a step back though,
Yes.
the epiphany for me was that I was sitting in a bar. You guys probably call them pubs. At 19, you can go to pubs in Europe, right? Like, that's not a big deal.
I'm from Austria, so 16.
You're from where?
We have a drinking Austria.
Oh, you're from Austria.
Middle of
Oh,
Europe.
wow. Do you guys, your English is really good.
I've been speaking, well, yeah, basically since I was 10.
You know, you might be the only Austrian I've ever spoken to. That's funny. I'm half German. I'm half German.
Well, we're a small
Yeah,
country.
you guys are, but everyone knows about you guys. You guys are pretty well known
Do
about.
you speak any German?
Sprechen Sie Deutsch nicht so gern. Basically nothing. Just enough to tell you I can't. I live in Chicago, and I live in a thing called a Mexican diaspora. Are you familiar with that term?
Not at all.
Okay, so the term diaspora, I think, is a biology term. It's something I just learned recently, but basically in Chicago, you've heard of Chicago, right? So in Chicago,
Yes.
yeah, it's our third biggest city in America. So it's a big metropolis here. In Chicago, the neighborhoods are very, very, very distinct. Literally crossing the street, you could end up in an entirely different culture. It's kind of broken up into these neighborhoods.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's been going on since they established Chicago in I assume in the mid 1800s or whatever. And this is just something that's kind of organically come about. But America, as of recently, has had a huge number of migrants coming into the country. And one of the places you might want to come to is Chicago, because Chicago is considered a sanctuary city, which is that generally the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago will try to protect you from dealing with issues with being an immigrant coming into the country. We'll actually fight on your behalf. But the federal government does supersede state and local government, and so that isn't really protecting, but that's neither here nor there. I live in an...
I will probably not visit America anytime soon.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I think it's almost half of all trips from Europe to America have been canceled. So it's not. You will see a lot of less tourists for good or bad.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
we're dealing with...
I live in Vienna. We really do not like tourists.
Okay.
Okay, but well, Viennese people do not like people.
What up, Gray Fox? No, yeah, Austria is known for not liking outsiders.
Specifically Vienna. Everywhere else, they don't.
Yeah, I imagine. That's interesting. Yeah, that's probably a good move. The United States is currently going through a transition period right now. It won't last forever, but...
Not one that I'm particularly a fan of, I must say.
No, I don't think too many people are. Even people here, it's causing a lot of uncomfortableness.
I saw a probably really like a graph basically that was like probably not the most accurate, but it's been like 100 days since
Right.
Trump has been in office, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He just hit his 100 days.
And comparatively to the likeness, how many people like the president, it's basically inverted the graph of what Biden's presidency was after 100 days.
Yeah. Well,
Which is interesting to say the least.
Well, I'm always skeptical of those charts because
I'm not saying it's correct. I doubt it is exactly like that.
Well, the reason why I say that is
too perfectly inverted.
I think that conservative people around, and I'm sure this is the same way around the world, conservatism generally comes from, being family oriented, or, you kind of just dealing with your own things. The more outspoken people are generally the progressives. It comes with the definition of the term, which is that they want to push things along and they want things to change. And so they're generally the more outspoken ones. And I think the thing that happens with the United States is very difficult for the outside of the world to understand, is that a lot of the mainstream opinions are not spoken. Like, I think the conservative people don't take those polls, and they don't care about the polls. They have their ideologies at home, and when it comes time to go out and vote, they will go out and they will do that. And so oftentimes there's a portion of the population that isn't represented, and you really just kind of see the people who are trying to make the biggest change. They're the most outwardly spoken, and therefore it gives an unrealistic perspective on what people are thinking as a whole.
I'll be right back. I need to close my window. There's a really bad storm coming.
Gray Fox, did you learn diaspora? Diaspora? I think, let's look it up. Let's look up diaspora. I was taught, there was a girl I was dating who is Lebanese. Oh my God, she was so stunning. Diaspora. And she actually used the word diaspora, and I didn't know the term. Diaspora is a population that is scattered across a region which are separate from its geographic place of origin. The word is used in reference to people who identify with a specific geographic location but currently reside elsewhere. Okay, so the whole reason why I brought this word up wasn't to flex my vocabulary, but it was to explain the neighborhood that I live in. So I live in a thing called a Mexican diaspora, because basically the people who've come to this area of Chicago have decided to kind of, to scatter about, if you come to Chicago and you're from Latin America and you don't speak English very well, you want to come to the neighborhood I'm in, because most of the shops are owned with kind of, it looks like Little Mexico. So when I go outside and I go to my local grocery store, which is within walking distance, because exactly what you said, to scatter about. Exactly. Yeah. When I go outside, so when I get an apartment in the city, one of the reasons why I live in the city is I want things to be walkable for me. There's not a lot of walkable cities in America. America is a very, very spread out place. As Gray Fox would probably let you know, in Texas and things like that, if you don't have a car, you're basically landlocked. There's going to be neighborhoods without sidewalks and things like that. America, the major infrastructure build of America that came after World War II was just completely car-centric. And that's not my favorite thing to do. I think that, one, cars are very expensive. The price of gas keeps going up. I mean, the way that cars are run in the car business, it's all about making money off of car parts. And so, so I wanted to live in a place where I didn't have to worry about that as much. Now, I do have a car now, and I pay for a parking spot in a gated area. So I don't have to deal with parking out here. Parking in Chicago is just murderous. Anyway, when I walk out, I have to speak Spanish, and I know just enough just to say, they're like, "Querían bosa," which I think is, "Do you want it in a bag?" And then another friend of mine who knows Spanish, I thought that "Está bien," which is everything's okay. I thought that was a way of saying, like, don't worry, everything's okay. But then a friend of mine goes, no, when you say "Está bien" in this general region, you're basically saying okay. So if you're at a restaurant and they go, "Is everything okay?" You say, "It's okay." You're almost like saying it's fine. So it's almost like a rude thing to say. But I don't know that, So in big cities like Dallas, we have the DART BIS system, but smaller cities, you're SOL if you don't have a vehicle. Is the DART the train system? Chicago's got a centralized train system, which is really nice. And they have buses that run both ways on the same street all day. So The transit here is fantastic. It's honestly, there's really not too many complaints. The only thing I would say is the CTA needs to up its security a little bit. There's a lot of people on the train who are running amok, who kind of, people aren't going to police themselves, especially in a place like Chicago, because you never really know what the dynamic is. So sometimes they can run things over. Okay, let's get going with this scene. So this scene is two doctors walking down the hallway, and I want these doctors to have a conversation. I'm not sure what they're going to talk about, but they're going to have a little conversation. And while they're having a conversation, they're going to come into contact with our really crazy guy here. Was a fun and crazy guy. Oh, there is one thing I wanted to point out. Why is this not working?
What program do you use? Photoshop?
Yeah, this is Photoshop. This is all Photoshop.
When I draw, which is rarely, I use Clip Studio Paint.
Yeah, that's the one you're supposed to be using. So you're in the right program. My next book, I will try to transition to that program. I just happen to know Photoshop. This is more like
I don't think you need to switch, honestly. If you know the program, just use it.
Yeah, but apparently there's a lot of shortcuts. Like my the one thing with Photoshop is I have trouble staying organized because it's just layer after layer after layer. Apparently these programs, Clip Studio Paint, for animation, which I also know how to animate. Once the book's done, I'll start dropping animations. So if you like the work that I'm doing, follow me on the different social media sites so that when it comes time for me to start dropping animation, you can see that as well. And it's going to be I think it's going to be pretty funny stuff. Anyway, yeah, so from what I understand, it's the standard, and the people who work in it, they get really great results. And so I think at some point I'll try to work it into my workflow. Okay, so
I haven't used it since I'm on this new machine,
mm-hmm.
but I did really enjoy the couple 100 hours I used it for, but it wasn't like anything professional that I used it for.
Mm.
It was just silly fun.
So what we basically
it's very capable, very satisfying to use.
Oh, I bet. See, that's a good
bit
keyword.
More complicated for just a drawing program, but if you know Photoshop, it's not an issue.
Yeah, Photoshop's so robust too. Okay, so what we're looking at here is possibly two different pages. This might be like a spread here to do this in 2 pages. I'm not against that. So let's take a look at the macro aspect of the story. Okay, yeah, so there's this, we're going to go back to our guy here, and I want to show you what we're going to what we're going to run into for this character. We should have that. Let's see. It looks like we're not overwhelming the CPU, so I might open up another project file. Let me know if I start losing quality on here. Oh, there's one thing I really wanted to express about AI in our conversation about AI, and I want to get it out. So I was at a pub, if you will, but they call them bars here. There's a bar I like to go to, which is kind of like a whiskey bar. And I was at this place. I think I was having a steak and fries, or steak and chips, as y'all might say. And I was celebrating something that was going on. This is like one of my go-to things to do. And let's see if I can get this layer I want. I don't see it. So maybe it's not in this one. Maybe this is not 2. Let's go to 3. So I'm there, right? And I'm having a conversation with a patron and then the owner of the bar. And over my shoulder, they're kind of talking about how, living in Chicago, this is a very affluent part of Chicago. Chicago is a tale of 2 cities. There's one portion of the city that could be argued from year to year. Some years are worse than others. This year actually has been pretty mild. Can be considered close to a war zone. Very terrible circumstances. Then the other portion of the city, which is where I live in, is highly luxurious. I mean, beautiful, world-class architecture, very affluent, and they're very separated. Fish sticks. Fish sticks. But anyway, so I'm at this bar, and it's in one of the more affluent areas, and the owner of the bar was basically telling a story about him being, someone who looks out for other people. The question is, like, what are people trying to get you to think of them, right? So that's a different conversation. But anyway, they were talking about, without blaming people, without saying the root cause, they're just giving examples of things that happened recently in the neighborhood, which were kind of extreme, right? And while that's happening, I look up at the monitor, and there's a commercial, and it's a Coca-Cola Christmas commercial. And I could tell that it was all AI. And I actually had read in the news recently that Coca-Cola is releasing a completely AI-generated commercial for their Christmas commercial this year. And so I see this, and I go, there it is. It's playing on ESPN primetime television. They literally have an entirely AI-generated commercial. So I look at the patron, and I look at the owner at the bar, and these are people that I would predict probably don't incorporate AI into their life yet. And I go, hey guys. And so I interrupt the story, and I go, look, point at the monitor, and I say, hey, you know that commercial is completely AI generated? Now, they're not completely obtuse people. I'm a human being. I said a thing. So they both look at the monitor, and then they kind of just look back at each other, and they go, basically they're like, I don't care. Like, that doesn't matter to me. And that made me realize it doesn't matter. Like, if the consumer doesn't care how it comes about, then you got to stop dwelling over it. There are things that exist in the output of what's available in the market, graphic novels, movies, music, and then there are the people who consume it. Now, you might be upset because there's a new revolutionary tool available, and that may upset you because you feel like, you already have a stride or how you contribute, yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to the consumer. Therefore, it doesn't really matter at all. And that was a very eye-opening. I was going to say it's a very eye-opening moment to witness, which is that people really don't care. And so I stopped getting into this mode of a lot of my colleagues who are trying to stay away from AI as much as possible. And my thought is, I just want to make sure that I'm not being unethical about how I incorporate it in my work. Because if it's like the people who drew graphic novels, which they still do, people still do comic books on paper. There are still very mainstream people who are working on paper, and that's fine, right? People thought when Photoshop came out, it's going to change everything because you can just take a image from online and drop it in your canvas. And yeah, that is true. You can do all that. And they do it at Disney, and they do it at all the high-end commercial art places. So the question is, are you a fine artist or are you a commercial artist? If you're a commercial artist, then you're competing with the platform and the outputs of what the consumers are consuming. And therefore, you need to get with it and make sure that you're as competitive as everyone else. And so that's my conclusion as of today, May 3rd, 2025. That's my conclusion on AI and incorporating AI into the workflow. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. But I think our buddy here from Austria is very right in saying that, it's a little overrated in a lot of ways. But that's probably because people see it as the beginning of the end of the world. What did Sam Altman say? That he's pretty sure that AI is going to lead to the end of society, which is a really great way to get a lot of attention. And maybe it is. I don't know. I really don't know. I actually depend on other people to keep me in the loop about what's going on and their opinions. But the people who are deeply, deeply in the know generally respond to questions with AI with a bit of like glaze over in their eyes, where they're saying like, hey, this isn't what Skynet, is that what it was, that when the AI took over in Terminator? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, Skynet. And I think that's...
It's not that deep, basically.
Yeah. But, yeah. But isn't it heading that way? Let me just prod a little bit. Poke at the bear.
Unlikely.
Unlikely?
Unless there's somehow a way to get AI to use quantum computing that is 50 years more advanced than what we currently have.
The big issue, quantum computing is just so ridiculously expensive right now, right? Like, is that...
Ooh, that's scary than it. That's way scarier than AI. All your passwords are basically obsolete. What's that thing? All your encryption, everything. Well, there are some that say that it's against that, but I don't know much about it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's punching over my weight.
Yeah, it's also above my pay grade.
Yeah. I'm a creative, that's really where I'm at. And so I'm just, I'm not old enough to get stuck in my ways. You know, I have to evolve. And so I'm not worried about evolving. Okay, so really what happens here is they stumble upon this image. So when you're looking at a comic book page, and this is something I've learned over the years, is that a big part of it is like, what's the payoff? So my payoff would be, for this series of pages, would be seeing these doctors in the hallway. They're going to have their conversation. I'm going to withhold developing that conversation for a moment because maybe I could use that later as a way to express exposition, yada, 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 or maybe say a small joke. I don't know. But I generally write visually. So this is the payoff on the page on the right. So when you're opening the book and you're looking at it, here's really kind of starting from the top left. At the bottom right, we're going to see this image. This is the payoff. This is what the infected space cat looks like. And so we're
very similar to advertising. There needs to be a payoff.
Oh, really? Advertising needs a payoff? That's a great theory. I like that.
I'm not the best in advertising. There's I know some people that are way better than me.
Yeah, sure.
Way funnier as well.
Yeah. Oh,
But,
you've been
that's
such a huge.
one of the most important things. You need to one catch, and then there needs to be payoff because if you catch their attention and then it's just boring, you're just gonna forget about it.
Sure. Yeah, and people don't remember what you say. They remember how you made them feel. You know. And so I think generally my goal is to make people feel a certain way. That's kind of, honestly, it's so crazy. I'm almost 200 streams in. That's the first time I've actually told my secret. In my mind, I don't worry about your viewers on Streambo, remove space. I don't know. Are people really paying for viewers? Like what percentage? Like, okay, so I'll have a conversation. You seem like a pragmatist, my Austrian friend. What percentage of views and stuff like that is inflated? Inflated. Yeah, that's the right term. Like the people who own these platforms don't really care if you pay for a bunch of viewers and inflate these numbers with bots and stuff like that. Otherwise, they would do things to limit.
It's less that the people that own the companies inflate the numbers. But they are certainly inflated. Twitter has like the worst problem. They're just not fixing it. They don't want to.
Because it's good for their ability to sell to advertisers. Those numbers are good.
That true, but it's more like Twitter bots are kind of weaponized already, so probably just do not care to fix it. Maybe they get money from it, maybe they don't.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's they're cash motivated. They don't care about because they don't have.
I think it's advertisers actually paying. It's more like government.
Really?
Sounds very redneck crazy, but there are way too many bots for them to just be for advertisers by the company themselves.
Well, okay. Well, then, so if you look
Just
at it in a sense of like a collective value, a certain portion of it definitely has to be the numbers for advertisers, because advertisers are going to pay based off of the metrics, and so if the metrics are good, the profits go up. So there has to be some portion of that that's motivated. I mean, it's cash motivated. Yeah. I'm kind of just doubling down my
I wouldn't say it's the main thing on why you would want to inflate your numbers with bots.
And you would say the main reason is
it's not like a YouTuber that buys views or whatever. It's not like that.
So then
it's more of an ego thing, but it's not like that.
What would you say though? I mean, like, what percentage of people, like, do you think Mr. Beast is paying for fake viewers?
Unlikely, but I do not watch him. I really dislike him as a person.
Right, but you don't need to watch him to understand why I use him as an example, right?
I don't think he's paying to get views. I mean, he has like the perfect zoomer video structure, like fast cuts. He has like VFX now and whatnot, explosions every 2 seconds. I mean, I don't think he's paying for use. I don't.
Okay.
Unrealistic, and payoff is probably not even considerably worth it.
Okay. Okay.
There's for sure bots in his comments. I'm not saying it's not a thing.
Yeah.
But they're not because he paid for them. It's more like scam bots,
Yeah.
which could be hundreds of thousands or millions, but they're not because he pays someone.
Okay, so then let's go down a tier.
Botting is never a I want to look better. It's more of like the platform doesn't have great anti-bot measurements.
Right, and I'm saying like why is there not a big enough incentive for these monolithic gargantuan companies to take care of something that in my opinion makes social media less authentic and is causing a real issue?
Because it's not costing them anything, so they don't care.
Yeah.
So it is a money thing. Everything is.
Right.
In life, it's either love, sex, or money.
Is love and sex not one and the same?
It doesn't have to be.
No. No, I agree with that.
But yes, it should be, in my opinion.
Love
But
and
it's not
sex.
always.
No, definitely not.
People
Right.
do things just for the sex.
Right.
I'm not saying everyone.
I'm
not
saying
Norman.
no, I'm just kidding. I'm a bit of a contrarian. It's hard to know what my opinions are because I don't really speak based on opinions. I try to be Socratic.
Sorry, you cut out. Could you repeat that?
Oh no. Did I cut out from the Discord or from the stream? How are you listening to me?
Discord. I don't have your stream audio up. It's irritating with two
Oh, I can't imagine.
voices at the same time. So I don't know if it's in your stream.
No, I was gonna
It's
say.
in the Discord. If you have the noise cancelling thing off, maybe try turning it on or other way around.
Okay. Let's see. I always have problems with this.
When I got my new microphone, my god, it took me like a month to actually get it working.
Oh, I see.
Audio
'cause
is like one of the most finicky things.
Yeah. I feel like this is gonna make it worse though. But no, what was I gonna say? I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh no, I was just saying I'm very Socratic and a little bit of a contrarian.
You're still cutting.
Well, I could try this. I could run my mic through that. Check, check, check. But now I'm gonna sound all kind of wishy-washy. Check, 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 check. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I can barely hear you, and I think you have 200%.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
that's gonna be a little bit better, but check, 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 check. Yeah, it's just that's the way it's gonna be.
That's what it fixed for me. So if you go into Discord and go to voice, instead of using the automatically determine do it yourself, it works way better. So the
Noise
input
suppression.
sensitivity.
Enable quality of service high packet priority. No, that's not it. Automatic gain control. Cancel echo.
It's under voice and settings.
Voice processing. Noise suppression. Standard or none. Automatic gain control. Showing.
So noise suppression, do crisp, and then above that is input sensitivity, and you should do that manually.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that option. Input sensitivity, automatically determined.
Yeah.
So let's see this. Check, 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 check,
Yeah,
check.
and you
Check,
you
check, 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 check.
turn that off and then slide the meter manually.
So what do I want to do? I want to be below Check, 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 check. Technically, I get check, 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 check. So this might be a little bit better. Is that better? Check, 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 check. This seems better. Check, check, check.
Check, check, check.
Yeah, it's about as good as it's going to get. Output volume. You there? Ooh, might have lost him. There we go. Check, check, check. Oh, no, nothing. Check, check, check. Oh, what are you doing? Now you're not talking to me at all. Check, check, check. Check, 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 check. Check.
Check.
Check, 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 check. I don't know why it's not reading.
Seems like you're not cutting. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, no, I was saying I'm very Socratic and I'm a bit of a contrarian. So sometimes it's difficult to talk to me.
Still pretty bad. I have no idea.
The only thing I can think of, oh, it's also, I'm not even facing the mic that you're listening from. I wonder if maybe we could move, how do we do this? We could bring you over here, that output over here, and maybe I could face the microphone that you're hearing, but that's going to get in the way of this light. So if you see the matrix happening over here, clever got me this far, and tricky got me in. I am what I'm out for. No reason to offend. I don't think we need this over here. Check, check, check. Is that better?
I'm not sure. You would have to talk a bit more to see if it cuts out.
Okay. So regardless, the way I communicate, my communication style is contrarian and kind of Socratic. We can hear, but it sounds a little mono when you're doing the check. Okay, thank you. Man.
It sounds fine for me now.
Okay, yeah, well, I'm actually now facing your mic. So your mic was actually kind of behind me. Now I got it right here.
That's probably the issue.
Yeah, I bet, yeah. Yeah, so anyway, no, my point is, like I was saying, I'm a bit of a contrarian. How about Gray Fox? Just let me know if the audio stinks for this feed itself. I want to make sure we get this right. And I know it takes time, but let's figure it out now while we have 3 viewers as opposed to when we get 23 viewers.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Fix it before someone like rates you or whatever.
A review on me or something, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so sometimes it's kind of hard to have a conversation with me, I think, especially when you don't know me, that I sometimes I never really share what I actually believe, because I almost feel like, sounds a little better? Good. Because I almost feel like that's irrelevant. So I've found ways to really kind of think about things in the long run, and I'm always trying to find ways to find flaws in my thinking. I got that from the Socratic thinking, which I'm assuming if you're in the EU, I'm assuming you guys all get to learn Socratic thinking when you're young. I didn't learn about Socrates until I was in college, so it took a while. Feed sounds good. Thank you.
I did not really have normal school life, so no idea.
Did you learn about Socrates at all?
Highest grade I generally went to was 7th grade, so no.
So what'd you get? Were you homeschooled or something?
Hospitalized.
Oh, okay. So then you had tutors?
No, I technically still went to school, but barely.
That's rough. Are you going to college?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So you're continuing your education. Very good.
But specifically graphic design.
That's cool. That's cool.
It's not like normal school stuff. I was fine at school.
Yeah.
But I never enjoyed it.
But for college is so much different, right? Like there's just a little more openness.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest basically there.
Oh really? That's cool.
Which is nice.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
There's a couple at age.
Well, I believe if you're pursuing a degree, I think that you will have to learn about those things because it is part of the liberal arts that you learn about that aspect. And here in the United States, when you get a liberal arts degree, you have to understand Western philosophy, which comes out of England, and it's kind of what our founding fathers were studying at the time. And if you understand that, then you understand what they were thinking when they established the government, which ended up causing, kind of these republics/democracies to spur up around the world. So it is relevant that way. Then you realize that thinking actually started all the way back into ancient Greece, where Socrates was wandering around kind of challenging intellectuals, and he was able to prove in his mind, he felt like there's a fundamental flaw of human thought, and we still have it today, which is that when someone's an expert in one field, if they have an opinion on a different field, we generally will allow that to exist, right? We'll allow them. Now, this is pre-internet, obviously. The internet really changed human experience altogether. But growing up, I do remember a time, and this is true, I remember a time when you couldn't access information all the time. And so if you were having a conversation and no one knew, what's the name, what did they used to call that bridge over there? Whoever the wisest person in the group was, whatever they said essentially became fact. And so the way that information existed all the way up until recently was basically like, the most dominant person in the room would almost determine what facts were in those small groups, in those tribes or whatever you want to call them. I know that Anglican people don't like to call them tribes, but they are. So my point is that Socrates, actually, since you don't know, I can give you a little bit on this. Socrates basically just wandered around debating people, and it used to frustrate people. They're like, who is this guy? He was essentially like, in comparison, a homeless guy wandering around and saying, hey, what's going on? What do you think love is? And he's having these conversations. Now, the only things we know about Socrates are from the stories written by Plato. Plato was a disciple of Socrates, and Plato wrote all these stories or plays. We're not really sure. I mean, it was so long ago. And Socrates was the character in almost all of these. And what happened with Socrates was that he eventually got put in jail, prisoned, and was put on trial. The trial actually exists in public record. And back in ancient Athens, which had a population of about 250,000 people, the trials were public moments that would happen. And so people would come into these arenas or, theaters or whatever they were, and they would have the trial in front of the public. And the way that the outcome of the trial was is the people who witnessed it were actually the jury. And so you could show up as long as you were, Athenian and you owned a property or whatever, you'd hit all these different statuses. You could show up and witness a trial. And then when it came time for the jury to make its conclusion, you got to be a part of that voting body. And essentially there was a stenographer there. And so all these lines are actually, you can look it up. They're written in Greek. And basically what happened was he was charged with tax evasion and corrupting the youth of Athens. And so apparently there was this new kind of government that had come out, and Socrates, through his debate, was challenging the ideology of the new regime. And they thought, well, you're causing people to be anti-Athenian. This is a big problem. And he was able to make pretty decent arguments in public. And he had his attorney, I believe, was paid for by Plato, because Plato was actually a very wealthy person. He came from a wealthy, family. And they wanted to sentence him to death. And when it came time to debate his sentence, he said, the counter says, what's the defense counter to prosecution? And the prosecution was saying we should sentence him to death. Socrates says, I believe because of all the work that I've done to help Athens be a great city, my contrary argument is that I need a pension, which would be like the equivalent to like $100,000. And I want written apologies from everyone on the court, which is literally the most bizarre counter argument. And apparently he was so connected that before his execution, a very wealthy Athenian came to him and was so predominantly powerful, he was able to walk past the guards and get them to open his cell and said, Socrates, come with me. We'll save your life and we'll leave. And he said, no, I've spent my entire life making arguments, and I'm going to become a martyr. So therefore, if I do this, I won't be remembered historically. And so he actually went through with his death sentence because he wanted to be remembered. That actually doesn't explain why it's so important to study Socrates, but I just always thought that was an interesting story. So that's why I bring it up. Okay. So these are
Stories are always fun.
Stories are fun. That's why I'm in the story business. Yeah. But yeah, so, well, it's kind of interesting here. Our doctor here, who would technically have breasts, is exposing her chest. So maybe we'll put a shirt on her this way. But no, Socrates basically wandered around and started challenging people's ideas. And he started to realize that people don't know as much as they think they know, or as much as they present to know. And oftentimes when people are experts in one field, they think that somehow their opinion is more important because they're an expert in one field than it is in this other field. And he was able to prove through conversations and most of his work that they assume their intelligence is higher than it actually is. And the AI actually tells me I suffer from that too. It's called optimism bias. And AI says that I suffer from optimism bias. And I thought that was really interesting. It says that I suffer from present moment bias, optimism bias, what is it? Confirmation bias, which is the most common one. Lost value fallacy bias, I think is what that's called. And then there's another bias, but they're not extreme. And it's very difficult to overcome them. But if you're not aware of them, it's almost impossible. And so I just became aware of the bias. All right, I'm going to give her some lady lumps here. Let's kind of bring her shoulders in a little bit more. Try to get something closer.
Lady lumps is something I've not heard before.
Yeah, it's a term from a Black Eyed Peas song. Here we go. Lovely lady lumps, as they say. Yeah. So we could say she's having some sort of conversation. And as she's talking about something which we can save for the possibility of setting up exposition, then they stumble upon this cat who's yelling mud. And so they can basically say, whoa, 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 the janitor started to lose his mind. And so they try to take the mud pillow away. And when they do that, they get infected. And so this is the beginning of the infection on the ship. So we're going to have to, this is going to be a lot of work. We got to get these major panels there. So we kind of worked this out a little bit. I like this face the way it is. So we'll keep it that way. We'll do this. Kind of get some details over here. Get rid of this. Okay, so we're kind of just building up with what we have here.
All right, I am done with my sculpt for today.
Nice.
So I'm gonna take a break.
All right, buddy.
I'll see you another time.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for joining. She's a cat. She needs at least 6 lady lumps. I'm not doing that. These are a mix anthropomorphic with humans, so. But you're absolutely right. Yeah, she does need to have 6 lady lumps, but we're not going to do that. That'd be just wouldn't do what I wanted to do. Okay, let's break this down. Oh, Luop didn't tell me how to say his name yet. I gotta figure out how to say his name. Luop. What do you think of me taking the webcam and putting it in the center as opposed to in a corner? I like the center bit, actually, a little bit. All right, let's drop the opacity here and try to build this character a little bit more. Let's say that the doctors are maybe a little more stylish with their hairdos. Where are we at here? And then it's kind of hard for me to... You think that's funny? We will go here. Okay. So we're doing okay. Man, I wanted to be done drawing by now, but it took so long to get started. We got to keep going. Got a lot of work to do. So let's say he's just kind of listening. We're really worried about some of these characters looking very similar. So... Gotta add the differences in them sometimes. These core sketches for these layouts are so important. I never wanted to be that artist. I never wanted to be the artist who like needs these layers, but man, the project's so big. I don't have time to work it out. I gotta work it out by roughing it and roughing it. Maybe put a stethoscope on them. Don't really know. Let's merge them down again. Oh, and did we put, I wonder if this leads, we should make sure our Instagrammers know where we're at. Oh, I see. I put do not disturb on here. I don't know what this is about. Do not disturb off. I appreciate you. Whoa. Okay. So let's see if this leads to where we need it to lead to. Are we live right now?
Let's try and create a new.
No, it doesn't. Oh, we got to make a new one again.
See where our boys are at. And let's try and create a new
Are we live? We are live.
thing for people to latch onto.
Which one's live, dude? There we are.
Make a new one again.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Copy. So we got to make another one again. No, that's okay. It's not that big a deal. From both. We'll do it that way. Might be a little bit simpler. Man, yeah, I don't think I have enough time to go out tonight. Wow. Okay, then we got this. Let's check out our email real quick just to make sure we're not losing anything. Oof. What the oh. God bless it. So much. And then to make sure that our email's right. Let's pull this up. Check. Where are we at here? How long have I been streaming for? I think I almost kind of want to launch again. We're at almost 2 hours. We got everything set the way we want. I almost feel like I want to this is kind of what I was thinking time-wise. I didn't get as much time as I wanted. Gosh, forsaken. I just put the link out there too. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go out for a little bit and go for a bike ride. Get some of my chores done, and then we'll come back in here and we'll continue where we're at. I think that's just the way we're gonna have to do it. Because my body, I just got to do I need cardio. Otherwise, I'm going to turn into a big old slug. He's sitting here all day being sluggish. What are you doing? What are you doing right there? Don't be doing it. Don't you be doing it. All right, save this. And then let's cut this one out. Now, it looks like we actually got ourselves some decent settings, which is pretty nice. We'll come back to this. And I'll be back in a little bit. What's the big issue here? No, I don't want this. Okay, cool. All right, y'all. Yeah, take a break, bro. You're good. Cool. I appreciate you, Gray Fox. Yeah, let me get reset and we'll be back. I'd like to get some significant stuff done today. So I'll be around. Just kind of be on the lookout for the notification.